Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action. Champions League is over, and we're back to our regularly scheduled content where I do weird and wacky things, and we try and make it work. Today, I am going to be talking to you about myth units. I'm playing against Soup's Frere at the moment. This game was played a few weeks ago. I've been really experimenting recently with just trying a whole bunch of different like alternate strategies. Like Age of Mythology is such a deep game, and I feel like we get especially at the top levels of Age of Mythology, we get very caught up in what the meta is, and we actually miss out on a lot of different ways to play the game. So I was thinking, after playing with Japan a little bit, Japan is the main reason why I came up with this build. I was thinking, wait, if Japan can open like 2 or 3 Miko and sort of be fine, like you're kind of fighting for your life, and of course the Miko have got extra value and things like that with healing, but you can sort of be fine if your opponent isn't like fully ready to come and like destroy you immediately. You can be fine with like myth unit spamming or god power spamming by getting yourself a couple of villages on favor early on. So basically my idea here is, well, one, I'm playing against Frere, and Frere's got a whole bunch of god powers that are really strong. Well, what happens if I go for ceasefire in this matchup? I haven't actually done this before because I kind of ruled out playing Hermes from a competitive standpoint against Norse a long time ago, just on the fact that, well, just didn't really feel that strong. Now, did it feel not that strong? Why? Well, it felt not that strong because I didn't have restoration, and restoration was such a big part of overcoming what Norse can do. But it turns out that, as always, whenever you rule something out, you probably should try it a whole bunch before you rule it out. And I've only really started to properly investigate this god path. So, okay, so what's the idea? Well, the idea is that if I start gathering favor efficiently early on with 2 villages or 3 villages on the temple, you can see they've got 0.11 favor per second. If I start gathering this favor super early on, then this means that I'm going to have more overall resources and obviously a big mass of myth units. So what's the advantage of Zeus with myth units? Well, of course you have faster favor generation, so this is like super efficient early on. I'm getting an extra 20% favor income from those 2 villages there, but also my myth units take 1 less population. So if I can get to full population, then I'm gonna have just a lot more myth units. Like, I think my centaur cost I'm pretty sure my centaur costs something like, what is it? I think it's 2 population. So I basically have a Toxotes in the form of a centaur. Of course, it's expensive, don't get me wrong, but the idea here is that I'm building a death ball. And this is the thing that I've been discovering really about the myth unit, and where the myth unit is the most strong, and potentially also where you guys can have some fun with your own strategies, coming up with ways to make myth units feel powerful. And it is in that death ball aspect. So what I'm going for here is, obviously, if I can put some pressure on with my myth units, that's an added bonus. There's other gods. Hopefully I can show you some of those another day, where going for a death ball style thing without even needing to interact with your opponent, so to speak, with those myth units is an option. But yeah, this is going to be the whole idea here of Hermes with the centaur, is that I can put massive amounts of pressure onto my opponent. You can actually already see that Soup's putting walls up. Whether or not he's doing this because he knows that Hermes is coming, or he's just trying to play defensively because it's against Zeus, I don't know. But this is a really nice counter, actually, to centaur. And of course, I'm playing slow. Like, this isn't This isn't like the Poseidon idea where you just advance really quickly, you send your centaur into your opponent's base, and you just get a tiny little bit of amount of value there, and then you build on that value with like an extra town center or an extra upgrade or something, and then you build on that and you build on that. And it's not about that. It's about, sure, I'm going to go and attack you with this, but I'm not looking for damage. If I can't get damage, that's fine. I'm just looking to make sure that each one of these centaurs that come out is going to be staying alive. So, and any amount of damage here I can do is fantastic. So I do spot him with his villagers there. He's got a Draugr. I 100% cannot engage that Draugr. It is really, really strong. So we are just going to be leaving. And you can see here, because I've gone for this early favor super quickly, I can grab myself Spirited Charge literally immediately here. Which basically now means that my centaur, I can bolt the Draugr obviously, which basically means my centaur are now not a, they're not going to be weak to cavalry. So cavalry, or raiding cavalry I should say. So raiding cavalry are actually a counter to centaur. The centaur do pierce damage, raiding cavalry have high pierce armor, and they've also got the speed. So yeah, if I can grab that early Spirited Charge versus Norse, then all of a sudden these guys are moving at 6.1 speed, and those raiding cavalry will not be able to catch up to my centaur, and all of a sudden not be able to snare them, which means that they not there's no real way to counter these guys outright. Nonetheless, he's going for Soup's going for an Asgardian hill fort here. He's got a back town center. This entire position is like insanely well defended, or well, like the natural resources here with the pool, the palm trees and things. I'm just trying to like poke in here. I don't expect to stop this with the units that I have, and I'm like, okay, so you're gonna secure this position, this gold mine, and this town center. And I go, well, that's fine. If you grab that town center, you're gonna go up to like 190 pop. Remember, I'm making these centaur, and they're worth 3 population, but they're only costing 2. So every single one I get is basically +1 population. So if I can get, say, 15 centaur out, then that equals this town center in terms of like effective population. And that's all that I care about, because I know that all I have to do is lock you off the rest of the map. That's literally all I have to do. If you can have this gold mine, that's fine. You have to figure out how to beat my army. If you can beat my army, then okay, I lose. But because you're going to have more economy than me, but you have to beat my army, right? Nonetheless, I'm still just poking, looking for any amount of damage here, really trying not to lose any HP on these centaur, but not expecting to find anything. In fact, I mean, I expect all the villagers to be up here for the moment, or yeah, like not on like over on this wood line. If you take a look at what Soup's got, he actually doesn't even have any villagers on wood over here. He's moving them up onto this top side. Really, really good play from him. So there's not much I can do. So now we go, all right, time to go into hoplites. Now my macro's not been amazing here. I'm still like, I would say I'm still a bit of a newbie with this build. I'm trying to do some cheekiness. There's nothing on this gold mine, but you can actually use this special ability without needing to see anything there. Of course, you miss out on hit damage, which is 18, but you can still do damage over time with this. So I'm just trying to find any amounts of value I can. But the whole idea here now is, okay, it's time to build actually trying to complete my death ball. So my death ball is going to be basically infantry plus archer, and I also have to be aware that there might be some goatee coming at some point. So I do need to play for that. But for the moment, I just want to make sure that he's not going to be how do I put this? He's not going to be cheating out a heroic age. So I do need to put some pressure on. He doesn't want to fight me at all. He's actually going for stone walls as well. Really doesn't want to fight me. So all I'm looking for is tiny little bits of damage here and there, and trying to keep him in the classical age as long as I can. In fact, if we both hit the heroic age at roughly the same time, this is what I want, you know, like, yeah, this is exactly what I want. I do see over here that there's a temple and a house here that I can potentially attack. He does have watchtowers. My hoplites can clean this up very, very easily, so may as well start opening this position up. He's walled up this entirety of this main base as well. And basically, now I'm thinking, okay, I need to... Well, losing this hoplite isn't ideal. Bit of a misplay. I could have pulled that one back. But basically, the plan here, so to speak, is if I can attack this town center, then I get value out of my units. I'm still in like a quote-unquote power spike right now with the amount of centaur that I have. I'm still going to be building more. In fact, I've got myself up to 6. And you do remember that I was saying something like in the vicinity of I need about 15 of these bad boys to really make this happen. But I got 6 at the moment. I'm going to keep on increasing these numbers, getting picks where I can. If I can, there's definitely a position here to put pressure onto this gold mine. So let's knock through this and just cause some problems. And now he has to push forward with the Herser, and he can't actually run past the hoplites to get onto the center. But I also can't push forward to be fighting underneath this. And he drops the Ghoul and Bursty, and I go, all right, no worries. It is time to run. And I do see that the Ghoul and Bursty is currently on top of my army. So I go, all right, I'll click ceasefire. I don't really like that I click ceasefire here. This is not the ceasefire that I wanted to use. Reason being is I wanted to be able to run, but I did note that my centaur were feeling pretty like out in the open, so to speak. Like if the Ghoul and Bursty got onto it, then he's going to limit my numbers. And my whole thing is I don't want to have my numbers limited. Now I think this was a misplay. Now the reason this is a misplay is because now I need to save up 75 favor for another ceasefire. Because there's another god power that is a hell of a lot more powerful than Ghoul and Bursty, which is Tempest. So, yeah, I'm going to have to save up for that at some point here. You can see that I'm building 2 Centaur out. I'm going to keep on pumping these bad boys out at the moment because I know there's no Heroic Agent just yet, but there is going to need to be that... ceasefire needed for later in the game. So it's in the back of my mind, but that basically means now I'm shorting myself 75 divided by 14 centaur, which is obviously not ideal. He charges forward with those Herser. This is not a good fight for him. So I'm finding some mad value with my army. He does have a nice little economic lead over me at the moment, but still nothing too crazy. And as I won that fight, I'm thinking maybe I can just take out this town center. He doesn't have Ghoul and Bursty anymore. It is a little bit of a risky move, but yeah, we can definitely go after the town center. I kill off a couple of production buildings here. One of the weakest parts of Norse is generally playing defense. I've got this Pegasus tanking up the town center fire as well. Little cheeky moves you can do if your opponent is in full panic. As he pops out over onto this side, he's going to try and snipe a couple of my guys. I do have to be careful here. He can pop out his Herser right on top of my centaur, and he does manage to do that. He kills off one. Bad control from me. Need to pull these back all the way, but now his Herser are out of range of the town center, so I can actually take a lot of those guys out. So it's a bit of a trade. He gets another one. You really shouldn't be losing any of these. 6.1 speed versus 4.8 speed. So, I mean, credit to Soup for some nice defense. But I shouldn't have been losing any of those. And he did lose a lot of units as well. You can still see I'm ridiculously far in front in terms of military resource value. So now we take out the town center, and the game's going to continue. The game's going to continue along here with me being only behind by 9 villages or whatever it is, instead of behind by even more than that. But the whole point here is not to have like ended the game or anything. I know he's got this talent center. I know I'm behind on villages, but the whole point here is I'm trying to get him to spend gold. If we take a look at this gold mine over here, he's on it now. He's got 3,700. He's got 1,400 in the bank. He still has to build out a 190 pop army. This basically means, well, he's going to be in the heroic age, and he's going to be in the heroic age, and I'm not going to have to worry about much more than that. Now he does. Well, I'm not going to have to worry about a mythic age, or I'm not going to have to worry about like something completely crazy like that. I mean, he could potentially go mythic age, but then he won't have an army, which is another thing. So we get a little kill over there, and also him going to the heroic age does level out the playing field a little bit in terms of our own economy. And from here, it is armory time. It is time to go to the next age myself. I am a little bit on the slow side here to get to that next stage. I probably should have pulled some villagers. Definitely need to fix up this mining camp, but probably should have pulled some villagers off here and tried to rush out the heroic age here. And you can see my centaur numbers have now hit pretty ridiculous levels. Also managed to steal some goats, which is nice. But yeah, my centaurs are hitting some pretty ridiculous levels. Now let's just do some quick math here. If I've got 12 centaur and I'm doing 3 damage per second for 3 seconds, and then I'm doing 6 damage per second for the next 2 seconds. What's that? 9 plus 12? Is that math? And then times by 12. You know, I don't think you can tell me that this is like a death ball that's gonna not work. It seems very, very strong, and I can keep on adding myth units in here as well. So we go heroic age through Dionysus here. Idea is I could actually add in Hydra, and also I could add in what's it called? Oh, the old one is Bacchanal. Dionysus. I can't remember what it's called. My brain has just left me my body. The one that gives extra 5% HP. I get an extra 5% HP on these centaur as well, plus all the other units. So it's always nice going to that next age. Charge forward, pick off some units. He gets a hoplite or 2. I get a throw an axeman. Not an amazing trade, not a terrible trade, but a trade nonetheless. And yeah, I sort of feel like he wants to go mythic age here, but also he can't in a way. There's probably like a world here where he can go for some rock giants or some Draugr or something, and he's got a lot of favor in the bank, so he can almost match my amount of centaur here. But at the moment, like, everything is about these positions here. So now once I hit the next age, it's going to be all about locking up the map. I've got Pegasus and hoplites checking things out to make sure nothing goes up, but the big worry is actually him running. As I see the town setting on, I'm like, it's fine. I don't actually care. You have that. We already talked about this. If you want this town, of course I want to stop it if I can. But I also don't want to be running over here and allowing these very important positions to be having a hill fort on them. But yeah, if you get this town center up, I'm going to be able to get to 175 pop, and I'm going to be completely fine here. So he drops the Tempest. I click Ceasefire. He's going for another town center. Again, another very unimportant sort of position on the map. It doesn't cut anything off. It doesn't secure the gold mines. I did have that ceasefire in. Now I can actually start pumping out some more myth units. I think I lost the centaur there, unfortunately, to the thing, but yeah, 11. So this is plus 11 on top of that 175. So it's like, that's super, super good. So I just have to keep pumping units out. And I really do need to be locking off these this position here with walls. A little bit of a misplay from me as he charges through with some random raiding cavalry. Not sure what they're doing there, but he's looking for raids, I guess. I just caught him out, but still just keeping eyes on everything. But yeah, this is the big weak point right now will be him charging in onto a position and putting up a hill fort like here or here. And you can see he's trying to do that, and now we take a fight. Or I sit idle for a little bit. But yeah, this is him very struggling for gold. He does have 618. Of course, if he spends all of his resources here, life will be a little bit tricky, but we've also got a whole bunch of Peltas in to take out those Goaty as well. And yeah, at this point, he really can't fight here. So maybe if he spent his resources, things might be a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure, but he doesn't have any gold to spend the resources with. So that's another thing to look at. I mean, you could maybe go market or something. He doesn't have a market. Sell for a little bit and get a couple more resources out. But the question is, would he actually ever be able to beat this army? Like, this is the point of the game is what are these myth units doing here? It's all about, like, I don't have a second town center. I'm behind by 15 villages. This would normally mean I'm losing this game. But the point here is, well, he has to actually be able to sit on this villager advantage and take the income in a positive way, and that requires him to be on gold mines. But that also means in order for him to get onto the gold mines, he needs to beat a death ball. So he's going to take damage from this army regardless of what happens. And this is true for every single civilization. Like, I mean, maybe the one that is even Atlantean is gonna struggle against this sort of a thing, because you can just build the counter units to whatever he's going to be heroizing, while also having the centaur to take everything else out. Now he drops another Tempest here, and because I've got 91 pop of units, I can just, and he has nothing, I can just sit here. This is not a problem. The way Tempest works is the more units inside of it, the actual less effective it is. Normally it's the complete opposite. There's other powers like this, like Chaos as well, that is more effective, but less amount of units that are in. You can see only a couple of my units actually got frozen here. They will pop out of this this frozen area in about like 10 to 20 seconds. I can't remember what it is. But we've still got a very, very strong army. Everything's coming over. More Centaur coming through. I did say I was going to build Hydra, but that was the plan. But turns out Centaur are the best and no need to do anything. And he's going to continue to try and get onto this gold mine. We're now equal on villages here as well, and he's behind by a huge amount of military resource value. So, yeah, life is going to be a little bit tricky for him. So we just have to make sure that he can't get onto this side. I did manage to get the walls up over here to deny these gold mine positions, but really I should get in onto this spot, wall this off. Getting active with those, I've got villagers getting buildings up and stuff, but getting active with your villagers when you're doing these sort of one town center death wall comps is super important, because like missing, take the win, because missing one little thing can be the difference between winning and losing a game. Now, of course, Super is one of the best players in the world, so the things that he's going to be doing, you're probably not going to see at lower levels of play, right? Like, you can probably get away with it, with not playing as quick and impactful as what maybe I did in this game. But you can definitely take this idea of, let's play for a myth unit mass, let's play for a death ball, let's use these units and find some mad value with them. Now, like I said, I've actually got a couple of other games. If you guys want to see them, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. But there's many different ideas, very, very similar to this one. This is just like proof of concept, right? I'm playing against a really high level player and it's working. Of course, like, he could play better, I could play better. So, I mean, you can say whatever you want about that, but the idea here is you can play into this. You can play into myth units. Myth units are very, very strong. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes at your levels. Of course, you have to control these. If you lose these units, it's bad, right? So you have to be thinking, how does this myth unit work? So, for example, I'll go through some myth units as we end the video for some thoughts. So, if you're playing with a centaur, if you're playing with an Anubite, if you're playing with a Sphinx, these guys are fast, glass cannon-ish units. You have to be very careful about heroes. If you throw them away, you're losing a huge amount of value, right? If you're playing with Petsukos, if you're playing with Manticore, if you're playing with Draugr, right? You've Satyr. You've got to be ready to pull those guys back when the ranged heroes come in and deal with those ranged heroes before you take full value out of your ranged myth units. That's super important. If you're playing with something like if you're playing like a behemoth, or you're playing with a mountain giant, or you're playing with a with an Oni, you have to make sure that you've got the mass there to support it, because you can't retreat. But it is a very, very big unit. If you've just sent in one, of course it's going to die. Like, your opponent's just going to focus it down with all their heroes. It's not going to get any value. You're going to struggle. But if you have 10, well, all of a sudden you can't retreat, but they can't kill your army. So yeah, you have to play for those sort of like game states. But hopefully, if you guys you enjoy this type of video and you want to see more of these types of strategies, let me know and I'll start putting some more out. Myth units in Age Mythology, very, very strong. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.